What it is, people. This your boy T Sway in the building. How y'all doing? I'm trying to get a kind of view. Do I want to get too much? Not enough lighting there. Anyways, y'all. See, it's your boy T Sway. We just chilling, and that's what it is. Just checking in with everybody. Where's all the subscribers at? Say what up. We are bringing in a new year. 2026 is just days away, and we'll be saying goodbye to 2025. What did y'all think of 2025? Are you guys happy with the year? Are you satisfied with whatever, with all the things that you did in 2025? Or are you disappointed with 2025? Are you looking forward to 2026? I don't know what y'all thoughts. I can tell you about my year. 2025 wasn't too bad for me. Bought some new equipment, spent time with the family, traveled back and forth from America and the UK. Got new, like I said, new equipment. Spent time with family. So like I'm older, so it's not like I'm out doing a lot of stuff. Made new music, released new songs, new beats. And so it was a highly productive year for me. So I'm happy about that. Yeah, some pretty cool things happened. My hit record with Cookie Kawaii is still going strong, which is nice. Instagram, I don't know if y'all seen my community post, but Instagram's main page posted that record with some like yo-yo video, and that it got like another 60 million views. So that's good because that's going to hit them royalty checks. So shout out to Instagram's official page with over 600 million followers for posting the Cookie Kawaii featuring Tyga Vibe Back It Up. So shout out to them. That's pretty cool. That song is still something about the songs during that 2020 era. I don't know. That song is still going somehow. So I'm grateful for that because that means, more. I'm just grateful for the fans, but it also means more higher royalty payouts. So, yeah, so it's a beautiful thing, and it means those advances are going to start recouping. Anybody that's ever got a publishing deal knows what I'm talking about. So grateful for that. Yeah, if anybody is in here, make sure you say something. Say what's up. If there's any musicians in here, anybody that's releasing music, if there's anybody that's bought a beat from me that's watching, make sure you say what's up. I'm not going to be on here long because I'm a money man and I don't like to hang out if there's no money involved. I'm too old not to get paid. Time is money, so I'm not going to be hanging out here too much unless there's some people that have some things that you want to talk about. But just a quick follow up. I'll be getting some new equipment in the new year. There's a new synthesizer called the Magnolia 8-voice analog synthesizer. And I'm going to be one of the first producers to have it because I'm so cool. I always got the new gear first. I bet you no other producer is going to have this before me. I bet nobody's going to when I was talking to people, nobody even knew about this keyboard. This is a $5,000 keyboard from Italy. 8-voice analog, has FM on there as well. I guarantee you nobody's going to have, there's no other R&B producer, hip hop producer who's going to have it before I do. I'm going to be the first one, and I'm going to showcase it on YouTube and show what can be done. And I'm going to do sample packs with it. But I know I'm going to be the first because I haven't seen too many people talk about it. Not that I'm the best one there is. I just haven't seen any of the go-to producers actually mention it. So I think I'm early I'm early on knowing about it. So I'll be one of the first people, if not the first R&B hip hop type producer to acquire this keyboard, and people will hear it from me, because I've seen a lot of producers pop up with like the Prophet X keyboards and those kind of synthesizers after I demonstrated stuff on YouTube. So I should be getting paid for that, but I did that because I love it. But I inspired a lot of y'all out there to get some of those keyboards, and I know I have. Whether I get the credit or not, I could care less, but you should give me the credit for it, because I know y'all watching the videos. Nobody was doing the keyboards on my level like I was doing the keyboards on a high level back in 2019, 2018. I didn't really see a whole lot of producers doing it on that level, as far as buying a bunch of synthesizers and just putting it in your bedroom, or I noticed that's getting more common to put out now. I'm not saying I'm the only person that had it, but I didn't see it on YouTube and Instagram as much as I do now. So I can take a little bit of credit for saying I'm one of the forerunners when it comes to demonstrating a bunch of synthesizers as an R&B producer, making it more common to see something like that online. But the first person I got to give credit to for doing that is a Ryan Leslie. So Ryan Leslie is the first producer that I remember to really showcase his studio I think he had like a studio apartment in New York back when he was working with Cassie. And he had, he was making beats in there. So he's probably really the first person I remember doing it. But for a long time, synthesizers went through a period of time where people weren't really getting keyboards like that anymore. Like if any of y'all been around since the MySpace days, and if you paid attention to producers, a lot of producers weren't really flexing a lot of keyboards. They started to flex more VSTs and just the MIDI board and the VST. But people like me started popping up on YouTube, 2012, and then I started presenting a bunch of videos that have a lot of synthesizers, and being passionate about the different synthesizers that you can use to make beats. And I'm not the first, but I'm one of the first to really, really put it out there and film a bunch of videos with all the different keyboards that have just dropped. And I've been doing that for a while now. So I try to bring y'all the latest and the greatest when it comes to new equipment and all the new presets and custom presets that I make as well. What up, Tina? What up, Tina? Appreciate you. Yes, sir. I'm definitely ready as well. So I'm not saying I'm the first to be doing the keyboard synthesizer home studio videos, but I'm one of the main people that you will find on YouTube and Instagram that basically kind of show the equipment. I'm always showing the equipment, right? So just let's do a little update. So we got the Moog Muse, right? We got that Moog Muse. That's that Moog Muse, and below is the PWM Mantis, and this is a PRS custom guitar that I got. And then right here we got the Prophet 6, the Yamaha CP73. So that's just a little update on the equipment that I've got this year, and it won't be the last. So I'm getting some more stuff very soon here. It's already on pre-order. And that's really it, y'all. I'm passionate about this music. So y'all about to see another keyboard pop up, maybe even two more. And I'm going to be showing y'all all the latest and the greatest presets on those boards. And hey, if there's anybody out there that's bought a keyboard because of the videos that I put out, make sure you say something about it. Give me credit on it. You know what I mean? If I inspired you to buy a Prophet X or a Prophet 6, or if I inspired you to buy a Moog Muse or a Roland Phantom, or just, at least give me the credit for it, because that's why I put these videos out, so I can inspire other musicians, to explore music and really, really be passionate about their craft. And I'm happy to see a lot of people kind of showing off their music equipment these days. And I got to take a little credit for being one of the main people to, not the only person, but one of the main people to really popularize that on YouTube, as far as just showing, showing the equipment that you have in your, whether it be your bedroom, home studio, apartment, or whatever you got going. I got to take a little credit for that, because I know that's got a lot more popular now. And I would say maybe about 10 years ago, it wasn't as big. I didn't find as many people showing off their equipment in their studio like that. So I would like to think that I've played a small role in inspiring people to really showcase their talents from the home studio with their equipment, and really go in on it, Okay. You got a Motif S6. Yeah, that's a classic, you know what I mean? So Motif. Yeah, the funny thing about Motif, back when I was like, I'm talking like 2000 and maybe like 2006 or 7, that was like the main keyboard that I wanted was the original Motif, and I couldn't afford it back then. So back then it was like, I would just be going to the Guitar Center, every month, and just making beats on it. You can program a beat on it when you're at the store, because they don't really mess with you. You can go to Guitar Center, they'll kind of just let you do your thing. And I'd be making full beats with me and the homies back in the day at the Guitar Center store. And most of the time it would be on the Motif, the original Motif, the ones before the XF. I think it might be the S version, or I don't know, but I could never buy it back then. Imagine that. I wasn't able to actually buy any keyboards with my job. The only way that I got to buy my music equipment was from making music. Isn't that strange? So I actually had to, my first pro keyboard was the Roland Phantom XA, and my homie had to pay for the bulk of that. Shout out to Louis. So my homie had to pay for the bulk of it. I paid for like 40% of it, so I couldn't even buy it on my own. But that's the first keyboard that I used to start selling beats online and producing everybody from like Frankie J, and even the Al B. Shore and Quincy Night and Day remake was on that Phantom, which is crazy, right? So you said, what synthesizer do you think that I can upgrade going into the new year? I mean, the Motif is a really great keyboard, to be honest. I would just keep it. I mean, the original Motifs, in my opinion, the original ones they're really hard to top. So I'd probably just stick with it. And I would just keep that keyboard, and then maybe just add another one on top of it. Maybe get like a, like a Prophet 6 or something like that. But I definitely wouldn't get rid of the Motif, because that's a classic. It's a classic sound. You don't want to, they haven't really put out any workstations, in my opinion, that could actually top the Motif series. Yeah, even the Kronos and all those things, those are cool. But I've owned the Kronos. Eventually I ended up owning a Motif XF, that it was a white version. I don't buy much workstations anymore, because I sequence everything on Pro Tools, so I don't necessarily need the workstations like I did back in the day. So I have a variety, but it's going to be really hard to top the Motif. Out of the workstations I've used, I really think that the Motif is probably the best of the mid 2000s era as far as workstation keyboards. So I would just hang on to it, and just add other keyboards to buy on top of it. Just have, stack 2 keyboards, have the Motif on the bottom, and then get another smaller synthesizer on the top, or something like a Prophet 6 or something like that. You know what I mean? Um, and then pretty much I yeah, I think the Motif is pretty much the best workstation of the mid 2000s era. But my favorite workstation keyboard of all time is really going to be that Triton. The Korg Triton is probably the best workstation keyboard of all time, in my opinion. Out of everything that I've made tracks with, that Korg Triton, I don't think anything could really top it. It's and you know the Triton was the very very early 2000s. You know, we're talking like the Dark Child era. You know, Dark Child era with the stuff that he was doing. You know, that that early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, that Triton was untouchable. And I'm telling you, when I was using the Triton for about a year, and I was doing a lot of traveling, so I wasn't able to bring it with me over where I'm at right now. And I'm only going to be at this place probably for a little bit longer. Then I'm actually um, traveling again, y'all. So I'm going to be on what you call like a 2 year 9 month visa out in the UK. It hasn't got approved yet, but so I'm a big time traveler. I'm like I guess you could call me like a gypsy type person. I like to go move to new areas every year, every other year, every couple years. And I got, you know, my wife and son stay out there, and I've been back and forth, America and the UK, making sure, you know, my family's good out here. My as far as like my mother, my brother and sisters, and you know that kind of stuff. So I'm back and forth. That's why you don't see my wife and son all the time, because I'm back and forth from America and the UK. So, but shout out to my wife and son. My wife also does music, Janice Carrito, which is her stage name. You can check her out on YouTube, right on my page. Actually, it's one of the suggested pages. So I'm sure y'all know about my wife already, though. So yeah, but that's pretty much what it is. Um, but yeah, if you're gonna get another keyboard and you're into workstations, get that Korg Triton. Go on reverb.com and get like a Korg Triton. You can get like one that's still in decent shape for like 500. But yeah, that's what I would do if you're into like the workstation where you can record tracks on it. And the workstations have everything. It has all the lead sounds. It has all the piano. It has all the synth basses. It has all the cool guitar stuff, all the miscellaneous pads. But yeah, nothing, in my opinion, nothing's really touching the Korg Triton as far as workstations. That's probably the best of all time. So number one is that Korg Triton, and number two is the Motif series by Yamaha as far as workstations, in my opinion. Everything else after that is cool, but nothing's really touching the Triton. And then I think after that, for sure, the Motif series. But I've been on a lot of other stuff. I got the Moog Muse, Prophet 6, Yamaha CP73, the PWM Mantis, and then I got the Magnolia 8-voice synthesizer that's coming to the studio. Yeah, the Prophet 6 is serious. You definitely gotta try it out. It's definitely good to have around, you know what I mean? So but yeah, so I'm getting that new Magnolia synthesizer from Italy, and I'm gonna be doing a lot of tracks with that. And then, to be honest, y'all, I'm probably gonna sell everything just because I'm doing, like I said, I'm doing a lot of traveling. So I tend not to. I'm not the type of person that I don't hang on equipment forever. I do like a bunch of beats, sample packs. I do a bunch of it, and then I tend to sell it and get all new stuff. So when I'm out in the UK, I'm probably going to get all new equipment, all different stuff. So it'll be a totally different sound again. So I like to switch my sound every year. Every year you're going to hear different kind of presets, different kind of pianos, different kind of lead sounds, and just different kind of like pad textures. And it's because I'm using different set of keyboards every year and a half. Every 2 years I got a new set of keyboards The only keyboard that I have now from a couple years ago is the Prophet 6, and I actually bought the Prophet 6 for this is the second time I bought it, because I got it back because I felt like there was more than I needed to explore it. Definitely nice. You purchased in 2005. So this is the second time I've owned the Prophet 6, and I bought it back because, well, it's just a really dope keyboard, and I didn't realize that the maker of we didn't realize that Dave Smith, rest in peace, we didn't realize he was going to pass on. So I was like, you know what, let me get that keyboard again, because he's a pioneer of analog synthesizers, and that's one of the last keyboards that he's ever really produced, and it's going to be hard to top something like the Prophet 6. It's going to be hard to top it, right? And there's some other new keyboard makers that are making a wave. Like I really like what they're doing with UDO. If anybody's ever heard of UDO synthesizers, it's a really talented guy out there in the UK, and he has a keyboard called the Super 6 and the Super Gemini. And I really like what they're doing with their synthesizers. They're really great for R&B, the kind of R&B that I make and stuff. So he's about to drop a new keyboard. I can't think of his name right now, but the name of the company is UDO. But they're about to drop a new synthesizer called the Domino. It's called the UDO Domino. Everybody make sure you go check that out. The UDO Domino, that keyboard's supposed to be pretty crazy. And I'm planning to get that one. I'm planning to get that one more so probably when I travel. I'm going to explore this new Magnolia keyboard first and really see what those sounds are all about. And after I do the Magnolia, I'm probably going to do the UDO Domino. So if you guys don't hear these keyboards anywhere else, you're going to definitely hear them. You're going to hear them from me, because I try to get all the latest and greatest new analog synthesizers that come out. I try to have all the new stuff, and I try to showcase those sounds in my beats. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what I do. And then that's it, y'all. I just pretty much do that, and then I use those sounds for a year or two, and then I try to get the other new stuff that comes out. I'm always trying to reinvent sound, reinvent sound. And I'm trying to design new patches and new presets that nobody's heard before. Like right now on the Muse, I'm using this ambient pad that I haven't really heard it in other production. I haven't really heard anybody use this patch in the way that I'm using it. And it's just an amazing patch on the Moog Muse that I customized it. I've tweaked it out, and it's really atmospheric sounding. And the reverb and the delay on it it's kind of like earth shattering, where it makes the sound so big. So it's been making a lot of my slow jams really spacey, making it easy for people to record to or make a song to. And I've been recording over some of the new tracks as well, because like, as y'all know, I'm still an artist as well. It's just not that's not my main focus anymore, but I'm still a songwriter. So I'll still record and put out the occasional single every couple months, because I still have the passion for it. Although it's not my main hustle anymore, that my passion as a songwriter and vocalist is still there. So you'll see a single or two drop from me occasionally. So yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with the studio equipment. So I'm really excited for the beginning of 2026, because I got new equipment showing up to the lab. And I really can't wait. There's nothing that excites me more than brand new music equipment. There's just something about brand new music equipment. There's just something about it. It just inspires you. You think of new ideas, the new preset sounds, the new sonic texture of the patches on new equipment. It's just really exciting. You know what I mean? So there's nothing better than getting a new piece of equipment, a new synthesizer, a new drum machine, new guitar. There's nothing like that feeling. You know what I mean? So Gonna do some more of that 2026. Also for my producers, um, you said, is it costly? Which particular keyboard are you talking? Let me know which one you're talking about. Um, yeah, but for all my musicians out there, if you are buying keyboards and if you make any kind of money from your music, make sure that you're writing. Let's make sure that you are writing your equipment off, because that is what I do. Me buying equipment is actually, that's my tax hustle, to be honest with you. I can get all the new and the latest and the greatest new equipment that I enjoy, and I'm able to write that off on my taxes when it's tax time. And it's honestly saved me tens of thousands of dollars that would have went to Uncle Sam, which is probably my least favorite uncle. But I've saved tens of thousands of dollars by buying equipment and just making beats with it, which lead to sales and placements. So kind of works, and it works out greatly. So if you are buying keyboards, and if you make any kind of money off your music, you should see if you could write it off. I know I do, because I'm self-employed, so I write it off. But I don't, if you're just doing it as a hobby, I don't know if you could write it off. But if you're making money from your music, you might want to check to see if you can write that off. But I certainly do. Aside from that, with 2026 coming up, I want to discuss with anybody that's making music. I want to discuss some new ideas about some ideas I have for people as far as making money from their songs. You know what I mean? So I think the streaming era for independent musicians it's not going away, but it's not necessarily working out the way that a lot of independent musicians want it to be. A lot of people, have struggles with these platforms, in regards to whether they get some of their songs removed, or one of the things that I've noticed is they just keep lowering the royalty payout for independent musicians, which is, it's at this point, and I make decent money from my streaming, not great money, but I make decent money from my, from my TuneCore, but it's not as good as it should be, right? I'm getting about 220,000 streams a month through TuneCore alone. It should be worth more than it is, but you know what I mean? It's worth, to be honest with you guys, it's worth about 600 for 220,000 streams. It doesn't even really add up, to be honest, but it's because they did all those things where you can only make royalties if every song is over 1,000 streams, or it's all a bunch of BS that they did at Spotify to cheat people out of their hard-earned money, to be honest with you. So before they did that switch, it probably would be worth it, because I was, about 3 years ago, I was only getting about 100,000 streams from my Spotify, and it was paying out around 700. So I'm getting double that now, and it's actually paying out a little less. So that's kind of disappointing. So, but it gave me an idea. No shade to, shout out to the people at TuneCore. They've treated me very well. So no shade to that. But I do think that, yes, anytime, Tiana, I appreciate you. 100, no, yeah, no doubt, anytime. Yes. And if you appreciate what I do, you can always drop a super chat, or you can head over to TonySwayMusic.com and get my buy one, get 19 free Beatly special to support what I do. So I'm not, so y'all don't see me out on the streets trying to play my keyboard, because I will do it if I have to. No, but yeah, if you want to support what I do, head on over to TonySwayMusic.com, get some sound packs, get some beats, get some drum kits, or you can drop a super chat. And if for some reason that money's tight, you can just drop a like or something. It is all appreciated, you know what I mean? So I know things are tight for people out there, because I talk to people every day, and things are more expensive than they used to be. So I understand that. So I really appreciate the people that buy beats now, because it's not as affordable as it once was, So I totally understand, but we all got to eat. So yeah, so it's interesting, but for me, to be honest, right now, it's the what's good, Compton June. Yo, I was just bumping our songs the other night. I was like, man, we got some bangers for show, man. Appreciate you. But yeah. So to be honest, this year for me, I've actually been kind of really making it off my placements. So the placements that paid out good royalties, and I also parted ways with a little bit of my publishing, not 100% of it, but I sold a percentage of my publishing to get a big bulk payout, so I can pretty much coast through the next year without having to really, be stressed. You know what I mean? So, but beat sales, that's part of obviously the main thing I do. But yeah, I'll be honest, they're very up and down. You know what I mean? So it's really my placement money that's really been carrying me, to be 100% honest. The beat sales money it's good sometimes, and then other months it's not always as great. But appreciate you, Angela 100. Yeah, no, 100%, June. I appreciate you. Make everybody in the chat, make sure you go check out my guy Compton June. He has some super dope records, and we have some super dope records as collaborations. So make sure you go subscribe to his profile. He's right there on the chat, Compton June. Make sure you go subscribe to him. We got some bangers together that I really think that you all gonna love. We have some of the stuff we have kind of reminds me of it's almost like that John B. Tupac kind of flavor, just that kind of flavor in there, that R&B hip hop collaboration kind of vibe. I think y'all will really dig what he got going on the page. Yes, sir. So, but yeah, 2025, I feel blessed. 2025 was another year that I got to live off my music, I do not take it for granted, because it is what I love. So I'm grateful, shout out to God for giving me another year where I can pay my bills and take care of my family, and buy more equipment and feed myself simply by, royalties from placements and some beat sales, and royalties from, some royalties from streams. And I'm still selling CDs, y'all. So there was some money that I made from selling my CDs as well. So that paid some bills as well. So I'm luckily I'm still able to do this music as really a full-time job. So I'm very grateful for it. Still trying to make, my goal is to try to make, one day I want to make at least $1 million from doing this music in a year. And I'm sure some of my subscribers have already made way more money than that, because I know y'all getting the money. You guys are out there getting the bag. But that'd be so cool to make $1 million in a year from music. I've made about $1 million overall, but I've been doing music full time ever since 2011. So I've already made about $1 million from it by this point. It didn't start off with much. When I first started selling my beats and CDs, I was probably way back in 2010, I was probably only making like $5,000 on top of, I was working at, everybody knows Best Buy. Best Buy used to be popping back in 2009, 2008. Best Buy was that was the go-to store. Everybody would be at Best Buy getting their TVs, getting all the new electronics, and all the new, honestly, all the new music as well. And I was selling my CD as an employee. I was also selling my CD in the store. I legit had a distributor that had my CDs placed in the store. So I'd be running up on people. I'd be running up on people in the Best Buy store saying, "Do you need any help?" And they'd be like, "Okay, I'm good." I was like, "By the way, I know I work here, but this is my new CD and I think you should get it. And here's how the song goes." And I used to get in trouble because I was selling out all my CDs at the store, and the managers hated me for it. And I was making like hundreds of dollars extra a month from selling out. Like we would get like 5 copies, I would sell all of them. Not that that's a lot, but I had to bend the rules. I had to bend the rules in the store. I had to ignore the manager and be like, yo, this is my CD. I know I work here, but this is my CD and you gotta check it out. I get everybody to buy. I got everybody I sold out in that store. And that was pretty cool. But the managers hated me for it though, because I did not focus on selling the cameras or the laptops or the I only focused on selling my own stuff, and they used to hate me for it, you know, because they don't make a lot of money off the CD sales. So they used to, my main thing was they wanted me to sell cameras, and sometimes depending on what section they had me in, I would sell cameras and laptops and car stereos and sometimes TVs, depending on what day. But they hated me because I was more focused on selling my own album. I was an entrepreneur from early on, and they didn't like that I was trying to make my own money. So, but it is what it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I hear you, Compton June. Yeah, I've been I definitely got to work on I'll work on some more up-tempo stuff, bro, that I think for sure that you're gonna dig. I've been in a really slow vibe lately. Just something about the Christmas time. It makes me I get into more of a slow mood during this time of year, but I'm definitely gonna be pumping out some more tempo records soon. And so I think there'll be something that you'll like for sure. And it also depends on what equipment I have. Some of the new equipment has different kind of sounds, and it kind of inspires different vibes. But I'll definitely pump out some more tempo records pretty soon here. But I've been on a slow run for the last couple months, to be honest. Yeah, man. But there's one record, I think, June. I think there's one record. I don't know if you heard it, but it kind of sounds, to me, it really sounds like something you would get on. And I might have to send it. I don't know. Maybe you've heard it already, but it's a nice little tempo record I put out a couple months ago. I don't know if you had heard it or not, but it sounds like something that you might get on. Maybe not, but I could send it your way. If I don't know if you've heard it or not, but I forgot. I can't think of the name of it right now, to be honest. But yeah. Club Jail, you said, what are your sales like, beats and placements from US versus worldwide? To be honest, y'all, I do pretty well when it comes to worldwide sales. I'm getting sales from Norway. I'm getting sales from the UK. I'm getting sales from Asia. I've even gotten sales from Dubai. I've gotten sales all the way out there in Alaska. I've gotten sales in Canada. I've got just 2 days ago, I got a sale out in Ecuador. So there's people worldwide that are digging the sound. So shout out to all my worldwide people outside of the States that are actually messing with the R&B sound. You'd be surprised. There's people in these different countries that are really vibing with R&B, that was a shock to me. When you look on your PayPal and it says Ecuador, and when you look on your PayPal and it says the Emirates or Dubai or Norway, that's a shock to me, because I didn't know that they were feeling R&B out in those areas. So shout out to all those people that are supporting me outside of the country. I really appreciate it. And of course, shout out to all my people in the United States as well. But I do have a worldwide base of people that are actually buying stuff. Yeah, sales, as far as overall sales of beats and CDs and stuff, it's been okay this year, but it could be better. It's really my royalties from songs like Cookie Kawaii Vibe and stuff like those have really paid out like really good money, to be honest. A little bit disappointed with the overall beat sales this year. I feel like it did okay, but it is what it is. Just for the kind of niche music, I do very niche music. A lot of the people that buy from me, I talk to a lot of the people. A lot of them are not doing too well. Like I'll just be real. A lot of my fans are in the hood, just to be straight up. Like, I make music, I make black soul music. That's what I do. And I know I'm a mixed race dude, but the R&B soul is what I am. That's what comes from the heart. And that's the music that I love. And it's what I will always make. It's what I will always make. That's why you don't really hear much of a variety from me, because the R&B is that's what I really feel. I grew up on, the New Edition, the Al B. Sure, the Prince, Michael Jackson, Off the Wall, the Tina Marie, the Rick James, the the Earth, Wind and Fire, the man, there's just so much amazing music. The New Editions, the Boyz II Men's, the Ralph Tresvants, the Bobby Brown, the Mariah Carey, the Karen White, the In Vogue. Like my mom and my aunt, they raised me on this pure diet of R&B soul. And that's one of the beauties of coming from a mixed race family, black and white, is that I was exposed to all this great music on both sides of my family. And even the white side of the family was playing into the R&B as well. So both sides, not just the black side. So I got both. My mom was playing, the Al B. Sure, and my aunt was playing, SOS Band, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis Productions and stuff like that. And so I really got the best R&B soul influences that you could dream of. And so that's the music that inspires me. And it's a very niche music. That 80s, that 90s vibe is niche. So sometimes when it comes to my sales, sometimes it does really well. But I would say the last couple of years, it's been kind of like this. It's been a lot of waves. Sometimes it does well, sometimes it doesn't. And but what's done really well is my song Vibe. That song's done really well, and it's paid me a lot of money. And that's how I'm able to. That's probably 70% of the reason why I'm still able to do music full time, because of that song. So shout out to Cookie Kawhi and Trill Valves. A big shout out to them, man. That song revitalized my career, because after the economy started getting kind of crushed after after 2020, 2021, people got their stimulus checks. When people were getting those stimmy checks, my beat sales were going through the roof. I was seeing more beat sales that I've ever seen in my life, because people were just throwing money at me. But once people started running out of those checks, their budget started getting tighter. And even my frequent buyers were buying a little bit less. So, but luckily for me, the record, that Vibe record was doing so well that the royalty payouts were so good. It basically kind of offset some of the problems that I was having when it came to the beat sales going up and down. But oddly enough, I had my biggest beat sale month of all time in January, but that was shout out really due to one of my biggest customers. So shout out to Daniel, man. I don't know if you're listening in, but shout out to Daniel, man. He's been a big supporter of mine. And shout out to Trav Torch, all the people that's really been supporting me. Shout out to you, Compton June. I really appreciate everybody that shops with me on a regular basis, because music is really my passion, man. This is all I do. And I'm only here because of you guys. That's the truth. I'm only here because y'all are feeling the music. And I simply wouldn't be able to do this full time if it wasn't for you guys supporting it. If it wasn't for you guys, blowing up that Cookie Kawhi Vibe record, all those, I'm still able here. I'm able to still do this. I'm going out there and I'm still able to feed my family, and I'm able to travel, buy all this amazing equipment. I'm able to live, with this really slick view of the lake here to make my beats. And I'm really blessed to make this music and have money in the bank because of the music. And it's only possible because you guys support. That's the truth. Without the support, I would have to do something else, and that's just the reality. So shout out to y'all for allowing me to live life the way that I want to live it. I just want to make music all the time. That's my passion. Kurt, she said, "What's good, Tony? I got some of your instrumental albums on my playlist. You got some vibes, bro." Kurtish, I appreciate you, man. God bless you, brother. And I really appreciate the love. And if y'all just tuning in, I'm just trying to get everybody ready for 2026. And, you know, and especially my musicians out there, if you're a musician, we got to get a new game plan for releasing stuff. We shouldn't just rely on streams only. Don't get me wrong. I make money from my streams. It's not incredible money, but it's like an extra I get extra 600 from TuneCore from Spotify every month. From Spotify, but pretty much from Spotify, and some of it's from Meta. It's cool because it's an extra 600. It pays a couple bills, like I buy a couple groceries, pays a couple things. But I'm getting 220,000 streams from my Spotify every month. So $600 is a very low payout for 220,000 streams. So I'm at the point now where, as musicians, we got to be more creative as far as how we release stuff. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going back to CDs because I've been getting a decent amount of CD sales this year. Not crazy amount, but I've been getting requests every other month, people trying to buy the physical copies now. So, you know, I just said to myself, I said, you know what? Why don't musicians take a couple steps back? We should start pressing music up regularly again, but do it with intent to sell. You should be trying to sell every album that you have, because you're going to make way more money than you would from streaming. If you press up 300 copies of your album and you sell all those for $10, if you know, we could let's do the math on that right now. So sorry if the screen goes a little funny. I'm pulling out the calculator. So if you sell 300 albums for $10. So 10 times 300. How many of y'all know what that is off the top of your head? I got to use a calculator. Yeah, 3,000. So $3,000. But do you know how many streams you have to get just to make 3,000? And to be honest, they're not even paying you for all the streams either. They're only paying you for the streams that are over 1,000 stream threshold. So, and you know, you can sell your CD for more than I've been selling my CDs for $30, to be honest with you, because I actually put a couple extra when people buy something. So if you sell them for a bit more, like me, you sell 300 CDs at $30, you're going to make $9,000. So you know how hard it is to make 9,000 from Spotify if you're not getting millions of plays every month. It's very difficult. And a lot of people will not make it from their music on streaming alone, because to be honest with you, I get enough streams at this point where I do really well with my streams, but they're just not worth a whole lot. That 600 for 220,000 streams, that's nothing for the amount of streams that I'm getting. I'd rather sell 200,000 albums and be a millionaire. You know what I mean? That makes more sense. So for me personally, and this is a message to other musicians, start pressing your albums up again. Don't be a closet musician. Don't hide your music from people. Take your CDs with you out in public. Advertise them on your YouTube. Take them with you when you're out in town, when you're out there networking. Have your copies of your album with you, and don't be afraid to market yourself. Get those copies out and sold. People will buy them. I don't even have to advertise my CD. I'm getting requests. People are requesting to buy it through email. I'm telling you, all you musicians out there, we need to go back to physical copies. Is the way. This digital, it's not the way, bro, because these people, these digital platforms, as far as streaming, they control too much. And you know, shout out to you. I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm talking about YouTube's a great platform to put your content, but I'm talking about the Spotify's and the Apple Music, specifically the Spotify, because they're really jerking a lot of people around with royalties. and they're jerking a lot of artists around as far as pulling their music down. And I'm really, it's about time that people stand up to the bully by just simply going back, press physical copies of your music. Don't think about how stupid it is to only release your music through streaming. Just how many of y'all really do you guys really get excited to stream an album? You can't tell me that you really, how many do you guys actually get excited? Because I'm actually mad. Do people really get excited to just stream an album? Because I sure in the hell don't. I never get excited about streaming an album. It's stupid. Wow, I've streamed the album. Like, to me, it's just silly. You know what I mean? So, you know what's exciting though? What's exciting is actually buying a CD, looking at the artwork, looking at who produced the instrumentals, looking at who wrote what, looking at all the credits, looking at the artwork and the effort into the art and design. You know what I mean? And then getting that crisp quality CD sound when you put it in the CD player or your car system. And most people still have CD players in their car because most people don't have brand new vehicles. When I go out on the road, there's most of the vehicles are early 2000s, to be honest. And I'm out here in Seattle, Washington, and in Seattle, people got money out here, bro, and they still driving around old cars. So trust me, we can all find a CD player. Shotty said, Curtis, I feel that I recently bought a CD player this year. I missed that time we had to go to the store and buy music. Absolutely. Well, I'm telling y'all, me personally, I'm pressing albums again. I'm not relying on these streaming platforms. I'm not giving them the power to basically control my music career. So what y'all gonna get from me in 2026, I'm dropping a new Tony Sway album that it won't be on streaming platforms. It's gonna be an album that isn't available on streaming, and people are gonna have to buy it, and it's not gonna be cheap. I'm dropping it for $100. It's gonna be $100 a CD, y'all, because I'm trying to make $1 million over here. It's time for artists and musicians to take their damn power back. Stop giving all your power to these streaming companies that are also flagging your music for fake streams just so they can make room for their AI or whatever they're doing. You guys got to really see through these people. These people are greedy. They're greedy people, and they're trying to get rid of the little guy. And go let them do it. Because let's be honest, Spotify, these companies they're not interesting. I don't find it interesting to go stream an album. I feel sorry for younger people and knowing that that's the only way that you guys see music now is on a Spotify playlist. That's sad to me. So I'm going back, and I have fans that are in my 20s as well. I'm going to be selling CDs to these people that are in their 20s so they can know what it's really like to get a physical copy that has the artwork, that has the song credit. It's a true experience to have an actual copy and get that crisp, clear sound quality that you get from a CD. These streaming platforms also degrade the audio. They bring the audio file, they demaster it so it's not as loud either as well. So how many of y'all notice that when you play a song on Spotify, it's not as loud? Go play that same song on an actual CD if you can find it. It's going to be way louder. Spotify brings the volume down. That's another thing that I don't like about it. So I appreciate you, Chase, but I'm calling out to all my artists and my musicians out there. Stop just putting your music only on Spotify. Stop. I'm not saying don't put music on there. I'm saying stop relying that is your only way to put music out. Literally take a couple $100, $150, and press 100 CDs and sell those CDs. When I was a young man, I was going door to door and selling candy bars. People really need to bring back the art of salesmanship. Learn how to sell yourself, your music, and that's something that you're passionate about. Stop relying on streams to get you out there. It's not. I'm telling you guys, it's not going to be the way anymore. It's changing. They're kicking real people off the platform, and they're putting silly AI music on there. You got to stop supporting. I unsubscribed to my. I used to have a paid Spotify plan. I unsubscribed to it over a year ago once I learned that they were going to do all this funny stuff to musicians. we have to get smart about our music, or how our people are going to thrive, how our musicians going to thrive, especially if you're from the hood like me. I come from the gutter, bro. All my dad and my grandpa are ex-cons. They spent prison time. You understand? So I come from the bottom of the level, and I'm speaking to people. It doesn't matter. You don't have to come from the bottom like me, but I'm saying, for me, for my grandpa, Sonny Simmons, who's from Oakland, California, you know what I mean? Like he's an OG, you know what I mean? He had over 13 brothers he had to raise when his parents passed away young. His parents passed away when he was a 14-year-old. He was out there in the East Bay, Oakland, California, you know what I mean? Roughing it out. And rest in peace to my grandpa. But that's where my musical gifts come from, is Sonny Simmons. He's a jazz, bebop saxophone player, and he has several releases on companies like Quest Records. And that's where the musical gifts flow from. And I think I'm getting off topic here, but what I'm saying is, people that come from the bottom, sometimes all they have is their talent. And it makes me really angry that these platforms are taking advantage of people that come from the bottom, where all they have sometimes all they have is their music. And they want to cheat them out of royalties. They want to cheat them out of even being able to release their music. And they want them to settle for their point whatever percentage of royalty. That's not acceptable anymore. We're going to have to go back. Well, I know you guys don't have to copy me, all the musicians listening. You don't have to copy me, but I suggest anybody that's truly passionate about the art, we have to go back to physical copies. That's the only way that you're going to take control. You got to go direct to your fan base. If you can't afford to press an album, then you're going to have to find another way to deliver your project to fans that's more personal. But one of the easiest ways is just to have a physical copy of your album. Make it real nice artwork, real nice booklet, have the song credits on there, credit your producer, credit the songwriters, do it the right way, get the right pictures, and really present a package that people will be excited to buy. And if you're really great, people will buy your product. And then you got to take your product everywhere you go. You need to you can't just leave your CDs at home. Everywhere you go, you got to bring your CDs with you. You got to market yourself. We got to get back, as musicians, we got to get back to truly marketing and being proud of our project. We cannot be these closet musicians that have a hidden talent. You got to stop hiding your talent. Press up your album, bring that album with you everywhere you go. Bring it, if you work, bring it to your work, bring it to the store with you, bring it everywhere. Any time you have a chance to network, bring your album around, start conversations around your music. And then pop your CD out on people if they're interested, and get them to. You got to go back to really hustling your music, because these streaming platforms, they don't want to see the average independent artist make it anymore. I'm telling you all, I'm somebody that's getting 220,000 streams every month from Spotify. I'm technically making it on there. I got 2 million plays this year. 2 million. That's only worth about $5,000 in streams. It's nothing. For 2 million, $5,000, it's nothing. So that's, luckily for me, I have my royalties from hit songs like Cookie Kawaii. I have my beat sales and different deals that I have on the side, and also my YouTube money as well. But to be honest with you, as musicians, we got to take control of our careers again. We got to go back to physical albums, whether it's CD, whether it's vinyl. You got to go back and start pressing your projects, because what's going to happen is when these places delete your music, your album no longer exists. How does that feel when you put your music out, years worth of blood, sweat, and tears, and then they just take your project down? Then you don't exist anymore. So you got to have a physical album. That way, that album will belong to all your top supporters. So if you only have, maybe you have 100 people that really rock with you, and they're willing to drop a bunch of money on physical albums, boom, there's your 10 grand right there. You know what I mean? Me personally, I'm going to start selling my CDs. My new CD is going to be set for sale for $100. And the people that are going to buy it are going to be the people that really, really support me. And I don't have to sell a lot. I don't have to sell a lot to make 10. I could sell 100 copies and I make 10,000. That's more than I would make from streaming in 2 years. So I'm encouraging all my musicians out there, get prepared for 2026. These streaming platforms they're not really in favor of the little people. And you should be able to be a musician. You should be able to get 1 million streams a year and be able to live comfortably off those 100,000 fans or those 10,000, 20,000 fans that are playing your music. But if you're telling everybody to get the album and stream it on Spotify, how are you going to make money? Because you might only have 1,000 true fans. So if you're telling them to go stream it on Spotify, you ain't going to make nothing. Why don't you tell them to buy the CD and the poster along, a signed poster autograph with the CD and whatever? Maybe you put something else special inside the package that has to do with your music. Boom. Sell that as a package to people, $30 a pop. Or you can be like me, you can sell it $100 a pop. Boom. Now your 100 top supporters paid you 10 grand, and they will get to own that album forever. They might actually have to buy it again if they break it like 10 years from now. So, but I would encourage people to press up, make your music last forever. Because these platforms could always just get rid of whoever they say is doing something wrong. And I've seen too many people's music get pulled down in the last 2 years, and it's people that are they're not doing anything wrong. It's just these bully systems. They want to pay you low money. They want to take your money out of your pocket, and then they want to boot you off the platform. They want to make it so independent music doesn't exist anymore. And they want to make way for their AI music creators. It's funny how they boot real people off, but then they keep AI music on. That seems kind of phony to me. And you know what I mean? And that's just what it is. So support real musicians. And musicians, you got to have the mindset of, you got to love yourself. Get that inner self-esteem. Don't stop giving up on you. Your music is valuable to somebody. So stop relying on these streaming platforms to make any kind of money, because they're trying to make sure you don't get anything. They keep lowering the royalty pool for people. It gets lower and lower. People thought it couldn't get lower than it was back in 2019. They've lowered it since then. Now people like Drake, shout out to Drake and those artists, but those guys are getting the larger portion of the royalty. You know, that's the way that the game's set up. So the only way for the independent people to win is you got to think more direct to the consumer. And one of the ways to do that as an artist, you should have physical copies of your albums ready to go. I'm telling you, yes, it's going to cost you. It might cost you a couple $100 to press up 200 CDs. And I think it's more expensive if you do the legit CD. I usually I'll do the duplication CDs. They're a little bit more affordable. They still sound great, but you can get it pressed up real nice, sell that thing for 20, $30, or make a whole package out of it, sell it for $100, and you'll make far more money doing it that way than you would by just getting 10,000 streams a year. And I'm getting 2 million streams a year, y'all. A lot of you would love to have the streams that I'm getting on your music, but I'm telling you, it's only worth about 6K at best. And that I have the receipts to prove it. And I don't mind that extra $5,000-$6,000. It's cool. I bought a few keyboards with it. So, shout out to TuneCore for that. But I'm saying, for the amount of work that goes into it, I'm not satisfied. So for me, I'm pressing up albums and I'm selling directly to people that want the actual physical album. And I've been selling albums to people worldwide. People are ordering them in different countries. And so it's a beautiful thing. So people will still buy physical albums, but you got to have them ready, and don't be afraid to market them, y'all. So I really want to see other musicians make it out here. You don't have to be a multimillionaire. A lot of musicians I know a lot of them would be happy just making 50,000 from their music every year, because you know what I mean. A lot of people would be very grateful for that. Let's see, Club Jail, you said that's great getting global sales. I'm a fan of your music, internet marketer myself. Do you do a lot of outbound for placements, etc? Are you more about pushing on YouTube and then inbound requests? I'm a little bit confused about the question, but I do get emails for all kinds of different things. I have some music, y'all, like on, I have some of my music on Netflix. I have music as it relates to different projects. Definitely, I have different. Like I said, I got Cookie Kawaii, Vibe, Tyga. That's on Empire Records. So that's outside of my beat sales, to be honest. That's something that was a business deal with the lawyer. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely do. I don't upload everything on YouTube, but so I do other side requests as well. Like I said, Empire music label. I'm in a deal with Cobalt Publishing as well. So shout out to Cobalt. Cobalt they gave me the biggest check of my life in 2021. That was the most I've ever seen from any music ever, and that was because of the Cookie Kawaii, Vibe, and Tyga. So shout out to them. What's good, SimCity, big worldwide media. Sup, Tony Sway from London. Hey, what's good, London, UK? I appreciate you, bro. And I'm actually supposed to be moving out there later, 2026. Not in London, but I'll be around the Manchester area. You know what I mean? So I don't know if you get down out there in Manchester, but I'm coming out to my UK peoples. And I'm going to be living out there with y'all for about 2 years, at least 2 years and 9 months at the least. So I'm getting, because my wife is from there, so I'm able to get a what they call a spouse visa, so I can officially live there. So that's going to be pretty cool. I probably will end up becoming a dual citizen, to be honest. I'll probably be a citizen eventually of America and the UK, to be honest. Yes, sir, man. So maybe we'll have to get together eventually, because I'll be living out there, man. I don't know if I don't know if I will achieve the citizenship or not, but I'll definitely be out there for 2 years and 9 months. I'll see what happens after that. I have a lot of business that I have going on in America at the same time, but I'll definitely be out there for the 2 years, 9 months. Yes, sir. So shout out to the UK. UK shows me a lot. London really shows me a lot of love on my beats. Honestly, I can't wait to actually visit London. A lot of my biggest supporters are actually out there in London. A lot of my sales for my music is from London, believe it or not. So I didn't realize how much people in London really appreciate R&B soul music. So that, man, big up to London. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to learn the lingo out there. I know they say bruv. I know that's part of the lingo. So shout out to my bruvs and my sisters out there in London and all of UK. So I'll be living out there with y'all pretty soon, God willing. They just gotta approve this visa for me, and I'll be good to go. But yeah, so that's pretty much what I have going on for 2026, and that's about it, y'all. And I'm just trying to encourage everybody to, especially all my musicians out there, take control of your music career. Don't be afraid to press physical copies of your album. Don't be afraid to market directly to people, to whether it's through YouTube. I'm selling CDs directly through YouTube, y'all. People are finding my email and requesting my physical copies straight through YouTube. I've sold plenty of CDs with minimal effort. People still want the physical copy, so still press your copies. Use streaming as a means to an end, because they could always decide to get rid of you for whatever reason. You could still put your music on there, but definitely consider going direct to consumer, because I believe that's going to be, we're at war. Independent musicians, we're basically at war with these DSPs. They're trying to treat the small person. They're trying to treat the little guy. And when I mean little guy, I mean all women, men, whoever. They're trying to treat the little person unfairly, and they're making the majority of the royalty stream go to the bigger major label artists. So the way that we can fight back is by just going direct to the consumer. Like there's a lot of other YouTubers that, that talk about that. I know one that talks about that a lot. You got, I don't know if you guys heard of Curtis King. He's big on independent music musicians. So shout out to him. But I preach the same thing. I preach the gospel of direct to consumer. You must take control of your music career. You got to take, and producers too. If you're making beats, we need to go back to making beat CDs, press physical copies of your instrumentals, make an artwork for it. I'm literally doing it. I've sold out of most of my CDs. I got to press up another run of a new album. So whether you're a beat maker or you're an artist, go back to physical copies, use the streaming really just to promote, because they don't really, unless you're getting, you won't really make decent money on streams unless you're getting maybe like 4 million. If you're getting like 4 million streams a month, maybe you might hit like 7, 8K. I didn't do the exact math, but I think it's around 7 to 8K, that would be a decent living from your music. But it's very hard to get 4 million streams a year. So it's a lot easier to sell 100 copies of your album. It's a lot easier to sell 200 copies of your album, and you don't have to sell it for pennies on the dollar like Spotify gives it away for free for a subscription, and then they pay you pennies on the dollar. You can actually sell your CD for a large amount. You can sell it for 30 to 100, depending on what you offer in that package. You can sell it to 100 people at $100. You'll make 10,000. So so there's a lot of different ways you can do it. Or you can sell it for $30 and make, I think it was 9,000. So it might not seem like a whole lot of money, but 100 CDs is not as hard to sell as you think it is. And it's a lot more than you would make from 100,000 streams. Or even, like I said, I'm getting 2 million streams a year, and it's only worth about $5,000 to $6,000. Because, it is what it is. And I have the receipts. It should be worth more, but I have the receipts, so. Club Gel, what do you think producers need to do more of pushing themselves via networking inside industry to get on projects, or more online marketing push and then people come to you? I'm from Birmingham, UK. I think you need to do a mix of both. You should find, if you're a producer, you should find out where some of the local artists kind of where they kind of go, the places they kind of hang out in. Try to find out where the musicians are and be around those music scenes. Bring a CD with you, bring a flash drive with you, bring your iPhone with you so you can showcase. And you got to sell yourself. And you got to have that. You just got to try. But the internet obviously is one of the best ways to. I've used the internet to connect with everybody, from meeting, going in the studio with Al B. Shore, Quincy, which is Al B. Shore's son, and then getting placements from everything from Crazy Bone, Tyga, Cookie Kawhi, Frankie J, multi-platinum selling artist. All these people came from literally DMs on Twitter DMs, literally. Quincy, Al B. Shore. Well, Al B. Shore came from Quincy, and that was a Twitter DM. Crazy Bone, that was my brother networking for me, Twitter DM. The Cookie Kawhi vibe and Tyga, that came from placing instrumental on YouTube. That instrumental on YouTube took off, and then those guys were able to they were able to basically remix the original instrumental and turn it into a smash hit. So shout out to them. And then, yeah, man. So I would say use a mix of internet and then networking in real life. For me, when I was in my 20s, I was moving around. I was hanging out in LA. I was up in the Bay Area when the hyphy movement I was going in the studio with the hyphy people back in the day. I was in the studio with Master P's engineer, K. Lou, out there in Richmond, California, with all the real gangsters. And I was hanging out with all the real G's. My little light-skinned self was out there with the real G's, thugging it up, you know what I mean? So I was out there with the real gangsters, man, out in California, really doing it. And I'm not no gangster, though, but I was out there with the G's. And they had the straps on the table and stuff. I was in the studio, they got the straps on the table. I'm out there doing my little I'll Be Sure type vocal, and all the G's got they got the strap on the studio desk or whatever. They have it slinged to the side or something. Like everybody's strapped up in there, and I was up in there recording with the hyphy people, and I'm all young and 24 and everything, and I'm all like, oh, I never been to a session like this where people they got I was like, oh, I was thinking it was like some death row type stuff. I'm just like this little, not little, I wouldn't say I'm little. I'm around 6 feet tall with boots anyways, but you know what I mean? It was a little intimidating, right? Because you're but that was my life growing up. I did music with all different kind of people. I did music with normal people, with Christian people, like Christian artist music. I've done it all. I've done music with the OG gangster people and stuff like that, or gangsta, you know what I mean? Out in the Bay Area, the hyphy movement. I've done it all, man. And so it's all been an interesting experience. Now, me personally, how I get down, I'm not thugging or anything like that, but I was getting down with people that were about that life, that were I've been involved with some pretty interesting people, especially when it comes to the music. I'm talking about I'm talking about people that were rolling around, like they're putting in work. So I was involved. I won't say who these people are, but I was around some crazy people. And luckily I didn't go into that lifestyle, but that's out when I was living in California and stuff. So I was rolling around with some, OG type people that were fresh out of prison. And like I said, my family comes out of that lifestyle. So hanging around OGs and gangsta like people is normal to me. So to me, I just feel comfortable in that environment. Even though I shouldn't be, I feel extremely comfortable in the hood. Like I shouldn't be that way, but I am, because it's that's how I grew up. I grew up around just a bunch of thug people. Just everybody was thugging it. People were hurt. People were going to prison for, putting people, giving people dirt naps and stuff like that. So these are my family were these people doing these things. And so I got used to being around all these criminals. So when I tried to make it in the music industry, here I am, like little Christian dude praying. My dad, my grandpas, they told me to stay away from that thug life, and that they said, don't get into the life that we're in. So I didn't go that direction. It was there for me, but they told me, you don't want this life. You ain't cut out for this life. You think you're tough, but you don't want to go to prison 7 years like my grandpa. And they told me to stay away from that life because they already did it and they didn't like it. It's not fun. It's not as fun. It's not what they make it out to be. You know what I mean? So, but because I grew up around that lifestyle, when I moved to California, I was connecting with people through MySpace and connecting with like OG gangsta people. And they were bringing me out to the studios in like Richmond. And like I said, K-Lou is Master P's old engineer. I'm sure if you guys don't know who Master P is, he had one of the biggest record hip hop labels of all time. And so they were bringing out me to the label with straight gangsters, you know what I mean? So I was out there and I was comfortable because I'm just used to that lifestyle. I was used to being around people who are in that life. Even though I wasn't in that life, it was normal to me for people to be living like that. But to be honest with you, I probably put myself in some dangerous situations. I probably shouldn't have been doing that. Now at this age, I'm 43, y'all. I got a family now, so I'm not thugging. I'm not gonna be hanging around people that are thugging or are banging anymore, because that lifestyle is too dangerous. I got too much to lose. But when I was 24 years old, I didn't care about nothing, bro. I was just trying to get into music. I get on anybody's track. I don't care. I didn't care if the dude was straight out of prison. I'm going to do a hook on it. I was getting down with, like I said, with all the hyphy G people and like, G'd up hyphy dudes and stuff like that. And that's what I was doing back when I was 24, 25. And, I have no regrets. I have no regrets. It was probably, I probably shouldn't have been collabing, with in that kind of environment. Like I could have, I definitely could have lost my life doing that kind of stuff, but I'm still here today. And somehow, I never tried to thug. I never tried to gangbang or do any of that stuff. But I'm glad, if it wasn't for my aunts, basically my uncle-in-law, for people, they kept me away from the streets. If I didn't have those people, my uncle-in-law, shout out, rest in peace to Ed. He's the one who inspired me to start going to church and really learning the Bible and learning a different way to life. So I have to tribute a lot of my staying out of trouble to him, because like my dad and my grandpa, they were really, really in and out of prison for a lot of years of their life. So I didn't have really the best examples of how to be when I was a young man. So I really could have got into some bad situations growing up. And that's just the reality. I kind of got off subject here, y'all, but I just feel compelled to share that with everybody, that I'm lucky to be here today. I'm lucky that I didn't get into the street life, but that street life was presented to me from the people that I grew up around. Like when your dad and your grandpa, and my grandpa is a famous musician, rest in peace, Sonny Simmons, but he, like I said, anybody know about, Oakland, California knows it's no joke. You can't, if you're from Oakland, California, you're automatically hard, because everybody out there it's just a different life. The first time I went to Oakland, California, that's the first time I ever saw chalk lines outside body. It was like, the body chalk lines. That's the first time I ever seen that, when I was like 6, 7 years old. My grandpa, Sonny Simmons, took me out to the Bay, and he was meeting up with one of his, a baby mama from back in the day. Took me to the house. We had some like catfish or something like that. And it was the first time I ever saw chalk lines on the street from people passing away and whatnot. And so my grandpa, he had a harder life. He went to prison for, some, putting people sending people to the Creator. Basically, that's the nicest way I could put it. And so the people, my family really had a hard life. Now, my grandpa he's a good man, but he came from, Oakland, California is a really hard area to survive. So he had to fight for his life. He had to defend himself against other people trying to thug and trying to rob him. And so in the process, he ended up, really beating some people down pretty badly. You know what I mean? And he already did his time for it, and he's gone now. Rest in peace to him. But, that's kind of like my dad's side of the family they're really some OG type dudes, to be honest with you. To be honest with you. And but they're also the ones that told me, don't go in that direction. They said, we already been to prison, so you don't. They said, we already been to prison to tell you don't go there. So I just took their advice, and I took my aunt's boyfriends. They would just tell me, stay out of trouble. Everybody was thugging in my era back then. Everybody, not just my dad and my grandpa, but like all the males around my family, everybody was thugging. They were hurting people. When I was growing up, the males in my family, they were hurting people. And like I said, there's only so much I can say on YouTube, but they were the ones that said, hey, you see what we do, but don't come back and do this. Don't do what we're doing. Cause they were the ones telling me to stay away from it. And so but again, I was accustomed to those kind of people. So I felt so comfortable early on in my music career. I was getting down with the thugs and the G's and stuff like that. But you know what I mean? I had to limit my exposure, because I remember what my grandma, my dad, and my aunt's boyfriends would tell me. They say, don't get into that thug. Don't try to be no G. You ain't cut out for that life. And if you do, you see what happened to us. You don't want to be doing 7 years, 8 years. You don't want to do that life. So I took their advice, and you know what I mean? I didn't go in that direction. And that's just the way it is. Now, like I said, I could have got caught up into it, but especially through some of my music associates that I was connecting with, like in California, especially when you're in California, it's hard to avoid the street. The streets is part of the music in Cali. It's just what it is. Anybody that's lived in the Bay Area knows what I'm talking about. The streets and the music go hand in hand. So even if you're not a street dude, you're going to know people from the street life when you're doing the music. It's just what it is. And so even though I wasn't in that life, people that I was getting down with musically were in that life. And, but a lot of them were in and out of prison. And so I kind of had to disassociate because I just remember what my family said. They said, don't try to be a part of that lifestyle. And but I got all love. It's all love for those guys. And I don't even remember all the names, but it's all love. They gave me chances. They let me sing on their hooks and they showed me love. So shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody that's really played a role in helping me with my music. I really appreciate everyone. And thanks for showing me the way. And also thank you for showing me what not to do, because I'm 43 years old today because I didn't give into that street life. It was very alluring when I'm talking when you're 21, 22, 23, 24, that street life can start to allure you, especially when you come from a poor background like myself. That street life can really tempt you, you know what I mean? And then you start seeing the people and they're not really getting money from the music, they're getting money from the street life. And you're like, damn, how can I get in on that? But these same dudes are telling you, hey, you're not cut out for this, stay away from this. So sometimes it'll be the street guys that tell you to stay away. Sometimes it'll be the street people that tell you to stay out of it because they saw something. My family, the street people that I knew, they saw something in me and they said, just focus on that. And so shout out to them. And that's one of the reasons why I'm still here. One of the reasons why I'm still blessed to be alive. So I made it. One of the hardest errors to make it as a Black man really is just if you can make it past 25, you've accomplished something. And just for young people in general, no matter what race or background you are, it's just in general, no matter what race you are, if you come from a hard life or a poor life, if you can make it past 25, you can make it, because 25 is the hardest year to really make it. By that point, by the time you're 25, you've been tested on all kinds of different temptations and all kinds of different things. So, but I'm blessed to be 43, y'all. I still have a little bit of hair left over. And I'm still in this, I've been blessed to do this music since 2014 full time. So I appreciate y'all. Patricia Nichols, amen, Tony. I appreciate you. Thanks for tuning in. And if y'all appreciate what I do, make sure you drop a like on this video. You can support me by going to tonyswaymusic.com and dropping, maybe you can get that buy one, get 19 free on the Beatly special, or you can drop me a super chat, or at the very least, you can drop a like. I do apologize if I went on a bit of a rant, but sometimes I end up talking about stuff I don't really plan, and I end up telling y'all part of my life, and I have a lot of things that I've been through in my life, and it's really a blessing that I'm here with y'all. That's the truth of it. And I've kind of had a tragic life, to be honest with you, and I have a smile on my face because my smile that's me overcoming all the things. My smile is from overcoming. I've had a crazy, tragic life, but I smile because I've overcome and I've survived. And that's why I try to be so positive and so happy when I talk to y'all, is because I really have survived a lot of things. And I hope that my words can encourage somebody to, make the best of their life. And I hope don't get tempted by things that could end your life fastly. Don't get, like I said, I avoided a lot of things. I somehow avoided the street life. It was all around me. But like I said, God showed me a different direction. And, and shout out to all the people that are in that life, because I know that they ain't no different from me. They all everybody just trying to survive. That's what it comes down to. They're trying to survive. And that's just what it is. A lot of people in that life come from the same kind of life as me, just welfare, single parent for the most part. My dad was in and out of jail, so my mom was single parent for the most of my childhood. And to this day, those things still affect me, but it's also my fuel. It's my fuel as a man to really try hard and try to be the best I can with my music, because the advice from the street dudes when I was younger was to say, go all the way in on your talent. Do not come to prison with me. It is not the way. And So maybe those words will touch somebody that, that's listening to this live stream, or maybe even on the playback. But or maybe you're in that street life right now, or maybe you're even in jail, like prison. It's never too late to try to turn your situation around. If I can make it out of a family of street dudes, imagine waking up and your dad just got back from spraying up the block. Imagine waking up to that when you're a kid. That's the kind of life that I had, you know what I mean? And, all this stuff is 30, 40 years ago. So sorry, Dad, but it's nothing that he's got in trouble for he's went to prison for everything at this point. And so I won't give details, but imagine waking up and you're a 7-year-old boy and your dad has the automatic, and he just got back from spraying up the block. Imagine what that does to your mindset when you're young. So I really had a hard life growing up, and I don't even know why I'm talking about this, but I got to get off before I keep talking. You know what I mean? So, but I'm just sharing that with y'all. If I can overcome, I know that any of y'all can overcome, no matter how hard your life has been. If I can survive these kind of things, if I didn't end up in prison, I know that for sure you guys can turn your life around, because my life was destined to be a prisoner. That was my destiny. But, God had different plans for me. And but I'm preaching it to y'all today because somebody out here will hear what I'm talking about, and they'll change their life around and, make a better future for themselves. But I appreciate y'all. God bless y'all. This is your boy, Tony Sway. Like, share, and subscribe. One love. Happy New Year.